Superior Fence and Rail knows about commercial fence services. From automatic gates to security fence and railing, Superior Fence and Rail's professional team delivers with great communication, trained installers, and quality products. Trust your next commercial project with the top-rated fence company in Jacksonville. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your commercial project today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
It's been a challenging year, and exceptional people have risen to the occasion. Now's the time to recognize them. Know someone who's making an impact in our community? Nominate them to be this year's TIAA Bank Community Champion. Each winning nominee will receive a $1,000 donation towards their cause, and will share their story with the world. Visit TIAABank.com/Community Champion for details, terms, and conditions. The deadline to nominate is June 26th. Visit TIAABank.com/Community Champion.
Having the right homeowner's policy protection means you're staying on top of your most valuable possession, your home. For information on finding an agent, log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours, Southern Oak Insurance.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Andrew Gibson for 1010XL. This update brought to you by Southern Oak Insurance. Jaguars wide receiver Chris Conley gave an impassioned speech this morning as the Jaguars led an organization-wide march to raise awareness for racial injustice.
Today, we see a nation that can't await change, a city that won't sit still or be quiet. Today, I'm surrounded by brothers and sisters of every color who've rallied together to echo the cries of George Floyd, to echo the cries of Breonna Taylor, to echo the cries of Ahmaud Arbery, and the countless others like them. Today, we're encouraged. Today, we're emboldened. Today, we know that change will come.
Chris Conley earlier today at 3:03, 82 degrees. Your time and temperature brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000.
Hot day and it's a long way back to my home. Turn the radio on, I'm hearing my friend Lizzie pretend that their voice counts for nothing amounts to anything until I hear it from you.
Frank, Hayes, Lauren, and Gibby. The Frangie Show starts now on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Well, 250 is pretty good for a bench player coming into a ball game, and that's what we got again. 1 out of 4 here on the program, at least there in the intro, as I'm Fat Tony Smith, joining you here on the Frangie Show on a Friday afternoon. James Coleman, Matt Hayes alongside as well. Gibson, Andrew in the booth, as we'll get into it. And guys, I'm excited. Like I have been looking forward to getting in here and getting going on this thing all day long, and we'll get into the protest and what happened with the Jags this morning in just a moment. I'm really excited to talk about an extra innings baseball game that I got to watch live in the United States last night. Yes, that string of words was correct. An extra inning baseball game in the United States that I watched last night. Frank Frangie, Hayes Carline will join us on the program today. We'll get Pete Prisco on in the 4 o'clock hour. I guess we'll just start saying what's going on, fellas. How are y'all doing this afternoon?
Doing good. Nobody's really done anything crazy today. So,
right.
I mean, it's like, it's cool.
Yeah, Matt?
You know what? Same. As long as crazy stays away and everything's good and we continue to move forward, all good, man.
Yeah.
All good.
And we saw this morning, and it's obviously been a big topic in Jacksonville, and it's been one that's made national headlines as well with the peaceful protest that the Jaguars organized, going from JSO to the stadium and then back down to the JSO building. This morning we've heard the words throughout the morning and into the afternoon of Chris Conley, who was the Jaguars wide receiver who spoke at both sides. We've heard from Doug Marrone, and I was curious to see what it was going to look like when we got word this morning that this was going to happen, right? And exactly what the Jaguars were planning, and some questions about why they had planned it this way, with only the organization being involved in what they were doing. What was your reaction, James, this morning when you saw everything that the Jaguars had put together for this protest?
Well, actually, Denny he didn't break it. We were talking during the break, and he was, a couple of his clients had asked if they could kind of change their times around, and he was just kind of like, man, I'm all for you doing this stuff, but protest on your own time.
Sure.
Thinking not understanding to the degree of what it was. So when I saw this morning, and I'm like, wow, my friend said Doug Marrone is out there again, and in some of their execs, and I was like, wow, this is a really, really good thing. This is something that it's almost like the NFL in certain teams have learned their lesson about what happened. Was it 4 years ago with the Kaepernick stuff? Not necessarily the Kaepernick thing, but when London, the week that we played in London, was the week that all the NFL players were just pissed off.
Yep.
Instead of really just reacting in such a sharp way, as a matter of fact, a former Jaguar player discussed of Tom Coughlin and Doug Marrone and how they said you can't do this, but Shad Khan said, I'm going to come out here and do it with you.
Mm-hmm.
So even Doug Marrone, Doug Marrone answered Mia O'Brien's questions about that, about how much he's grown. So as a guy like me who might think he's a crappy football coach, I see that he's a genuinely good human being that actually listens and tries to grow, which I can see why, a locker room, if things do go well, can rally behind him. So those are the things that I thought were pretty cool about that. And what Connolly said and how he verbalized it definitely spoke for. I mean, I can definitely say that's how I felt for the most part. So I seeing that, the one thing that, again, you can't help where you're not, but I think this is just a great opportunity missed. It's not bad for him. It's just this would have been awesome to have Gardner Minshew at.
Right.
This is why you gotta be here for a little bit. Not having a place to stay or anything like that. It's nice. We'll get you a hotel. Hell, I'll give you some of my Marriott rewards points, bro. We'll get you a room. I have the we called it. I joked to call it my freedom papers when we were doing the lockdown, the quarantine. When we got our little sheet of paper. It's like, dude, I'll go up to the hotel for you. I'll book the room and give him my quarantine paper so that you can get the hotel.
Doesn't he have
room.
a home here or an apartment?
I guess he was roommates with somebody, but I don't know if that.
Yeah, he couldn't go out in public anymore. Once the Minshew mania hit, he was basically holed up a lot.
Wow.
Because when he would go out in public, he'd get swamped.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it would have been cool to see him here along with Marrone and with a lot of guys. But
Sure.
all in all, I think a really good, effective way that the Jaguars represent.
I think we could look back in this day in 10, 20, 30 years from now, and it's a defining moment for the franchise. I truly believe that off the field. I can't think of anything off the field that they've done better. I thought it was great that there was no pre-expectation, no pre-announcement, I should say, about it was going to happen, which kept the nonsense away. It was just about the protests and what was really what we should be centering on right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's Black Lives Matters. It's injustice with the police, and I'm not saying again all police. I want to make that very clear. Bad cops. That's what this focus should be on. Everyone growing, everyone listening and understanding, and I think that's what happened there. When you have that, and you have a team like that, which is basically the soul of this city, and that's what this franchise is. Whether they want to admit it or not, or like to hear it or not, they are the soul of this city. When they go there and they march from the stadium, which is the epicenter of this city, and they march to the steps of the police headquarters, and they protest, it's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. And I think if you're a Jacksonville citizen, you should be, number one, proud of not only the franchise, but of your city, of people that follow them along the way. We're part of that group. You should be proud of guys like Chris Conley, what he said, Doug Marrone, guys that organized and led this march and spoke at length to what issues are and how we together can move forward. To me, if you are a Jacksonville citizen, you should be proud as hell of your city, of that franchise, and just what they did in this moment. Because frankly, you start looking around the rest of the NFL, You start looking around the rest of the cities in America. There aren't many pro teams that are getting together as many players as you can, and making that kind of statement on the steps of a police headquarters. It's impressive. I thought it was really, really impressive.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool to be first.
And I like how it didn't leak. Everything leaks. Like nothing. There's like it doesn't matter how top secret it is. Something always leaks. Somebody pillow talks or something like that. And the reason why I say that, and they may have, I'm sure somebody tipped JSO to it. And I'm not knocking JSO, but we've seen situations where people have said that they've been out there in riot gear to try to protect that. But imagine had they leaked it out and the police got an opportunity to come out there and show a different type of force. Like good, like just we're gonna be all plain clothes and do this. But like when they came out, you're addressing us like you would address anybody else, and they acted accordingly, which was awesome because it was a good show to let them be able to peacefully protest. Because imagine the headlines. Because it didn't make ESPN. I got a chance to see it before we came on. But imagine the headlines if you got 15 Jaguar players and the police had riot gear coming out there. Like that would have been terrible press for the city. So I think it's good on both sides to show the progression for what some of the demonstrations are. On both sides. So, I mean, I think that was amazing.
Yeah, and I thought it was cool to see, Ernest Wilford, who is a former Jaguars player who now works with JSO. He's one of the guys that was out there. It did feel like a community thing. And I thought it was great, too, to hear from the Jags afterwards because I saw, like, if you were watching it as it was going on social media this morning, there were some fans that were expressing some frustration with, could they be doing more? Why didn't they do it this way? Why isn't this group involved? Like different things like that. And I'd be lying if I said those questions didn't cross my mind too a little bit. But watching the Jaguars interact with even those fans saying, no, this is just the beginning of what we're planning on doing and supporting our players doing all these different initiatives and things that they want to do around the city. I'm with you, Matt. Like I think it is a day that we could look back on in 10, 20, and 30 years and say that's one of the biggest moments in the franchise's history was this morning, on June 5th to see the team come together that way. And it does feel like it's only going to be more and more community involved as we go forward with what they want to do.
Well, it transcends sports. Whenever you have something that transcends your initial idea, whether it be it sports, politics, whatever, if it transcends what you are and becomes about life, then you're bringing everyone into the fold. And I think that's what's important. I mean, what was really, I think, telling for me was when Chris Conley said, for the first time we feel like our voices are being heard. That's insanity. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, I heard that and I was thinking, that's unreal that the black community thinks like this is the first time their voice is being heard.
No.
So that's something that I think and we talked about this yesterday. There's a difference between listening and hearing. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that everybody has to hear. You got to hear that. That's the first time they think their voice has been heard. They're not playing games. It's not just some throwaway sentence, some throwaway line. Mm-hmm. They're being real and as truthful and as honest and as heart-spoken as they can. You could see it on his face when he was talking. And James clearly can speak to this. But if you're at a point, if you are white in this city and you're at a point and you hear Chris Conley say this is the first time we feel like our voice has been heard, my God, if that doesn't stop you in your tracks and say, okay, wait a second, it's time to now start hearing what's being said.
I mean, we listen to none of this stuff is new that's going on. Mm-hmm. One of the outside sports is a microcosm of society, but really one of the best ways to know where you're at is comedy. We can go Red Fox, Richard Pryor, the same sketches about getting beat up by police officers then. You can literally take those and put them now. And that's how we and there are mixed groups and people have laughed about them, but we've never really heard or talked about it. And a lot of times you can read sometimes. We all get bashed on the text line, but definitely listen when we talk about sensitive subjects. The shut up and ball shut up in this, like, which I laugh about. Is like, my plumber can have an opinion about politics, but I can't.
Yeah, it's a little silly.
Like, everybody, like, I don't talk about things I don't know a lot about, but at the same time, like, again, I'm not an electrician, but if the light goes out, I think I could be able to say, but what if we change the light bulb? Like, that might be the extent of my knowledge, but it's a good suggestion. Sure. It's sound. So, or I talk about sports for 24/7. You've never played it, but you get to have an opinion about high-profile sports, and you don't even know how to play PlayStation. So it's the things that we want to talk about, and again, it's like it's not being heard, and really a lot of it is just most people want to be able to live their life, love their family, the same and with the same opportunities as everybody else, and that's just what people want. But some, for whatever reason, not your fault. You guys aren't at fault, but there were people before us who were at fault that put restrictions on things, and now we have to deal with the byproduct of it. But we can either sit here and just say, "Well, I ain't have nothing to do with it," or we can actually listen, and then once we listen, we can actually do things to affect change, because it's more than that. Like, there are other things that we need to do in our communities that make us better. But sports is one step, and obviously sports and the protests have made good change, because now Breonna Taylor in Louisville, those police officers are being investigated. They weren't being investigated before. The Aubrey case up in Brunswick, Georgia, before people protested for that, those guys went 90 days without being charged. There was only one the police officer. None of the police officers were charged in Minneapolis before all of this stuff happened. So now we're getting justice. We're getting things happen. People are starting to calm down, and now we can. Hopefully, we won't just stop until everything really is equitable, not just equal. I'm not gonna lie to you. I want it fair. I don't want it equal. I want to be able to earn whatever I have. Like I was talking about yesterday. I don't want to trade my Florida State privilege. I worked hard for that. I want to be able. That's why I use that. But what I do want is a fair opportunity to be able to get my stake or my share of the American dream.
Yeah, well spoken, James. And look, we're not done talking about that this afternoon. Again, we're going to have Hayes Carline, Frank Frangie, who were both down there at the protest this morning during the second and third hours of the program. Do want to get into a Gators topic here in just a moment, as Dan Mullen went on with Pat McAfee and had some interesting comments about where his expectations are for the 2020 Florida Gators, and we'll get your reaction to that as we continue along. It's a Friday edition of the Frank Frangie Show right here on 1010 XL.
The Frangie Show, live from the law offices of Brett Hastings' studio on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
No one gets you closer to the Jaguars all year round.
I think the biggest thing for me is helping my team win, and I did that better than any rookie quarterback, so that gets me fired up.
1010XL.
Hey, if you want a bank you can trust, you want Center State Bank. 10 locations on the First Coast. You can go through any of those drive-thrus. Right now, the lobby is not open unless you make an appointment. If you make an appointment, you can go see your favorite banker. But the bottom line is, this is a time in our lives when you really want to trust the person that's handling your money. Really. Well, guess what? You can trust my friends at Center State Bank. The best bank in town, a bank that believes in you, a bank that's good at it, a bank you will like, Center State Bank.
Hurry! Fenwick Home Services' best ever cooling and heating offer is on now through June 12th. Get a new AC and heating system now and get 0% interest and 0 payments for 12 months. An instant Fenwick discount of $500 and up to $1,600 rebate, plus an up to 10-year warranty. Conditions apply. Don't wait. Call 660-0556 or visit FenwickHomeservices.com.
June is Men's Health Awareness Month, and the urologists at McKeever Clinic encourage all men to take charge of your urologic health by making prevention a priority. Guys, take 3 important steps. Get your prostate checked, don't ignore sexual health issues, and start a plan to get healthy and stay that way. Make your appointment today for a happier, healthier you. Visit McKeeverClinic.com. That's MCIVER. McKeever Clinic, innovators in urological care since 1921.
My name is Janice. I'm a client of Brett Hastings. Brett is the most brilliant, diligent, hardworking attorney I have ever met. He is truly dedicated to his clients and fights for them to the very end. Brett fought hard to win a large personal injury lawsuit for me. They're the very best legal team I have ever met. I would hire them again in a heartbeat.
Learn more at justiceforjacksonville.com. Law offices of Brett Hastings, where the injured find justice.
It's a Monday morning must.
Something hot.
Tony Baselli, Dan Hicken, and Jeff Prosser. Breakfast with Baselli. Breakfast provided by Chick-fil-A. Monday morning on 1010XL. Brought to you by Lloyd's Construction and Consulting.
Providing first-class construction services.
Tire Outlet is bringing the tires to you. Mike Dempsey here to tell you that Tire Outlet is now offering mobile service. No hassle, I mean quick same-day installation. They're the largest locally owned tire shop in town, so wherever you are, choose a time and location that's convenient for you. A Tire Outlet professional will bring the new tires out and install them. Call this number to make an appointment, 600-0089. For mobile tire installation, that's 600-0089. Tire Outlet. Wholesale prices, premium service.
Hey, it's Allie McDeal. You don't have to be an expert poker player to go to Best Bet. Head on over to Best Bet to experience the best in world-class poker, delicious food and drinks, and fun card games for all levels. Right here in Northeast Florida. Featuring games like Pai Gow, 3-card poker, and Ultimate Texas Hold'em. There are now more ways to win than ever. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff make playing fun for all experience levels. Best Bet. Experience the best.
The Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is back to normal business hours. In conjunction with Baptist Health, JOI and JOI Rehab are following the best practices to provide you and their employees with a safe environment, including patients and staff wearing masks and the ability to utilize their new virtual waiting room. JOI is still offering telehealth services if you prefer to do so. If you have questions before coming in for an appointment, please call JOI 2000. JOI, where the pros go.
There is no greater feeling than waking up each morning knowing you're going to change someone's life for the better. Aside from my beautiful family and friends, nothing gives me greater satisfaction than arriving at the offices of Dr. James McCall, where I care for patients and help transform their smiles. Hi, this is Bethany, and my mission is to keep you healthy and smiling. If you're looking for a dentist in a warm and relaxed atmosphere, call the dental offices of Dr. McCall at 620-9225.
Folks, it's the 25th anniversary for Renewal by Anderson, and they're offering an incredible sale. Frank Frangie here. Right now, get 25% off all windows and patio doors, plus no money down and no payments or interest for 12 months with approved credit. Your safety is a priority. So they do offer virtual consultations. Renewal by Anderson's windows are made from their own patented material, Fibrex. It has the strength of wood and the low maintenance of vinyl. They won't fade, flake, blister, or peel. Schedule your complimentary design consultation now to take advantage of the 25th anniversary savings. Restrictions apply and requires purchase of 3 or more windows or doors. This sale ends June 13th. Visit their brand new site, rbafla.com. That's rbafla.com for details. License number CGC 1527613.
Brakes for less is what we do. We know drums, rotors, pads, and shoes. If there's a squeal in your wheel, come see the best. 733 Stop.
Brakes for less.
All we do
are brakes for less.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000.
Back to more of a Big Chief Tire Friday on The Frangie Show. Big Chief Tire, with 4 locations on the First Coast to serve you.
Tony Smith, James Coleman, Matt Hayes, Andrew Gibson here with you on The Frangie Show, with you up until 6 o'clock this afternoon and into the evening. And Matt, going to turn our attention a little bit to the college football world, specifically the Florida Gators. And head coach Dan Mullen went on with Pat McAfee, and the former NFL punter who's doing his own thing, doing radio and podcasting and doing all that. But he went on with Pat McAfee, and what he said was he expects the Florida Gators to go undefeated for the 2020 season. What was your reaction? Obviously, coaches are going to say what coaches say, and what's he supposed to say? I don't know, 3 losses, something like that. I guess we could tolerate that at Florida.
He could have said, I feel good about this season. He could have said that. He absolutely put a target on his team. Absolutely. And, maybe that's what he wanted to do. Maybe he wants them to zero in right now. He knows they're coming back. He's seen some of the guys that have come back. He sees that they've stayed in shape. Maybe he feels good about it, right? Maybe he wants that target on their back so they are zeroed in and focused about the season. Nick Saban always talks about, people always ask him, why would you play those games against USC and West Virginia, all those teams they played in Clemson early on, the first game of the season? Why would you do that instead of come out against, Southeastern Louisiana? He said, because I want our guys zeroed in for 9 months prior, that they know they're playing Clemson week 1. So there's definitely value to that. If you look at it that way, I can completely understand it. And you're forcing your guys now to live up to what you've said. I think they're good. I think they've got a good team. I think what's good, what the value in what he said, I think, is because they have an experienced team. They have an experienced quarterback. And I think that's going to be huge in this season where you've got teams that haven't been together for 5 months now. Some of them have new coaches, some have new coordinators, some have new quarterbacks, some have all three new. So I think you look at that and you think, all right, if you got an experienced team, you got a guy with a quarterback that knows what he's doing, that's going to be the elite teams, like Ohio State. I would put Florida in there. Mm-hmm. But teams that are breaking in new quarterbacks, Alabama, I'm telling you, is going to struggle. They're not going to – I don't think they're going to be unbeaten. They may lose 1 or 2 games, which is struggling for Alabama. But I don't think they're going to be the dominant, blowing doors off everybody team that we think they are. It's very hard because we saw Mac Jones. Mac played pretty well. He had a couple mistakes against Auburn. He played pretty well for the most part. Played well in the bowl game. We don't know what's going to happen with Bryce Young. He might win the job. Who knows? The freshman recruit from California. Either way, it doesn't matter. You're still talking about a relatively new quarterback going into pressure situations. LSU's going to have a brand-new quarterback, Miles Brennan. Miles Brennan's been around there for 4 years. He could be a guy that says, all right, he's got that experience, he's going to go in there and play well. Or he's a guy that has never been in those type situations yet. So, to me, I just value guys that have been through it before. I value quarterbacks that have been on the road and it's 3rd and 9, you got to make a play. And they make a play. So, to me, that's a big deal. That's a big, big deal. That's why I think they'll be good. They'll compete for an East, and they could compete and win. They could possibly win the SEC. But he was talking big about Florida and Georgia last year. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
He was taking shots at Georgia last year, and they got physically mauled last year in that game. So if my idea for the Florida program is beat Georgia first, win the East, then get to the championship game and see what happens there.
Where's the line, James, as a player? Look, you want your coach to be confident, and you want your coach to be confident in you. You want the pressure, especially when you're at a program like Florida. There's nothing wrong with pressure to go out there and win. When does it become too much, or when can a coach overstep that line?
I mean, to be honest with you, it's something, I guess I can't say relatively new, but like for the 90s, a solid, big portion of the 2000s, it wasn't anything for that. Like this statement would be something that would already be there for Florida, Florida State, and Miami. It would be most teams are beaten once they see the name on the schedule. Mm-hmm. It's really only 2 to 3 teams that don't fear that name because they're of the same cloth and the same.
Florida or Miami, they're Florida or Miami. State, yeah.
In recent years, even Florida fans will say they say Treon Harris is one of the worst quarterbacks to ever play, but he won. That was your last 2 division championships and playing for the conference. But you think Trask is a lot better than him, and this team is a lot better. But obviously Georgia's in a different place. You can talk that, but nobody believes you. And I don't know if it put even more of a tag. I mean, guys are going to rally behind their coach or whatever their guy says, but I think it's a way to say it without saying it as blunt like that. Just believe we go into every game that we have on our schedule, we believe we have a chance to win. That says the exact same thing.
Right. Well, we feel really good about this.
Without saying we're going to go undefeated. And you wouldn't be lying. Now, you're going undefeated, you could be proved a liar week 1. But if you say, I believe we have a chance to go into every game and compete, there's not a person that's going to say, like, nah, here are 2 guaranteed losses for Florida. I can say there are 2 losses, I think, but if you could probably present a solid argument, that would prove me otherwise. Now, proven quarterback. I mean, that's great. Georgia's quarterback didn't beat Florida. Georgia's amazing offensive line and running game is what beat Florida, and they've done a better job. Florida's done a good job with their trenches, but Georgia consistently has done a great job in their trenches. So I believe, that's an uphill thing. LSU, they got cats, and at a certain point, that's really what it comes down to. So I don't mind it. It doesn't really make anything, but it doesn't change what those players probably look at their schedule and believe. Like, they believe I have every chance to win every game, but we know we're going to be in a dogfight against LSU and Georgia.
Sure. And want to ask you guys, too, on the other side, what is the bar? For this year, for the 3 in-state programs, Florida, Florida State, Miami, what is a successful season? How would that be defined for each of those 3 programs? We'll talk about that when we return on the other side. Also, like I said, I got to watch a live baseball game on American soil that went to extra innings, and I'll talk about that a little bit, too. As we continue along, it's the Frangie Show here on 1010XL.
The Frangie Show, live from the law offices of Brett Hastings' studio on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Radio for Jacksonville by people who live and love Jacksonville.
That's right. That's exactly what it means.
1010XL, Bold City Radio.
I'm Glenn Levine, a board-certified civil trial lawyer. That means the Florida bars recognize me as an expert in the field of civil trial. As a trial lawyer, I'm trained to investigate every aspect of your case. If you've been involved in a legal dispute and are not sure of your options, call me, Glenn Levine, at the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000 for a free consultation and take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
For the best price and service when it comes to your waste hauling and collecting, look no further than the A-Team at All-American Roll-Off and Recycling. Jeff Prosser here, and let me tell you, you're not going to find an easier way to handle your project cleanups than calling in the A-Team at All-American. A J.B. Coxwell company, All-American Roll-Off and Recycling has brand new trucks and cans in all sizes to fit your project needs. No hidden fees. Count on the best price in town. When it comes to cleaning up when the job is done, go with the A-Team at All-American Roll-Off and Recycling. Visit us at all-americanrolloff.com.
This is Joe C., and I love every Wednesday at the Golf Club of Southampton. It's the home of the 9 after 5 and could be your golf home, too, with a great deal going right now on membership. How about 2 free months and a $500 gift card with a paid initiation fee? The golf course is always in terrific shape, and it's a place a golfer loves to call home. So call 287-PLAY right now and ask about this great membership offer. Family owned and operated, it's all happening at Southampton. 287-PLAY.
Hi folks, Frank Frangie with great news if you love pizza. Brucci's is open again for dine-in right there on Hodges at Beach. They've been doing that great delivery service or pickup, but now you can go into the restaurant and you are going to love it. It is the best pizza in town. One stop for pizza. It is Brucci's on Hodges at Beach. And we'll be out there doing the show Wednesday, June 10th. We'll have a big time. So come see us, and if you want pizza, get the best pizza in town. Brucci's on Hodges at Beach.
This Day in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On June 5th, 1981, Astros Nolan Ryan passed his early win as the all-time walk leader, recording walk 1,777.
When it's summer in Northeast Florida, you need to know you can count on your cooling system. Cooler times will come, but fall is a long way off. You don't have to sweat it out. Call Mike Merritt's Heating and Air. A small adjustment may be all you need. And Mike Merritt's Heating and Air is here to get your system in tip-top condition. If you do need something new, Mike Merritt offers a 10-year warranty on new systems. That gives you peace of mind you won't find anywhere else. Year in, year out, people wonder, what's Mike Merritt's secret? What can explain 30 years of excellence? The answer is simple. Mike Merritt is always ready to help and never an overtime charge. Merritt's techs work without commissions. They only do what you need. Merritt's cheerful staff is ready to help anytime. Call today. License number CAC 050384. On the web at merrittair.com.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Degeneration or arthritis in the knee joint can be debilitating.
While you can't regrow cartilage, you can strengthen the muscles around the knee to stabilize and help absorb stress on the joint. Strengthening should start with the quadriceps and hamstrings and the thighs, but should also include the hip and core muscles. Weight loss and nutrition should also be a part of protecting your joint, and don't forget to stretch. Go Jags.
Restrictions may apply. Plans and costs for coverage may vary. Call Protect My Car for details.
These days, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a car, truck, or SUV made from 1999 or higher, you could stop paying for car repairs. That's right, you might not have to pay a penny to have it repaired. Just dial star 1147 in your mobile phone now to see if you qualify. You must have an automobile made from 1999 or higher, and all repairs for your engine, transmission, and much more can become a thing of the past. Dial star 1147 on your mobile phone today and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. That's right, total protection for your car and no more repair bills. Plus, free roadside assistance, free towing, free car rental, and free oil changes. Just dial star 1147 on your mobile phone now to see if your car qualifies. That's star 1147. Never pay for car repairs again. Just dial star 1147 on your mobile phone now. Dial star 1147.
Take advantage of working from home and get that project or spring cleaning done now. Rick Ballou here for Small Haul Dumpsters. They offer short-term dumpster rental with low rates and zero hidden fees, saving you more on any size cleanup. Give Small Haul Dumpsters a call today at 552-5555 or go to smallhauldumpsters.com to reserve your Small Haul Dumpster today and get $50 off your first rental. Call today, 552-5555 or go to smallhauldumpsters.com.
Hurricane season is here, and now is the time to ask your agent about your homeowner's coverage. It's time to make the change to Southern Oak Insurance.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000.
Back to more of a Big Chief Tire Friday on The Frangie Show. Big Chief Tire, with 4 locations on the First Coast to serve you.
Tony Smith, Matt Hayes, James Coleman, Andrew Gibson here with you on a Friday edition of The Frangie Show here on 1010XL. We'll be joined by Frank in the next hour. He was out at the protest this morning organized by the Jags, and so we'll get his reaction to what he saw being out there among the protesters, and we'll hear from Pete Prisco in the next hour as well. Did want to ask you guys about the bar. What is the bar that Florida State, and Miami would have to reach in the 2020 season for it to be considered a successful season? I know, James, you talked about it a little bit yesterday. I think you said 8 wins.
Yep.
It's kind of where that bar is for Florida State going into the year?
Got to be. My fear with Florida State is obviously wins will get you recruited. Even when you look at guys like the perfect example for Florida State fans is Florida. Dan Mullen's not known as an ace recruiter. He's known as a really good X's and O's guy. And because he took care of that, his recruiting classes are good. Whether they lack in some areas, as a lot of Florida fans complain, it's still a solid class. I'd switch with them in a heartbeat. That's something that Florida State fans of Mike Norvell can look forward to. The problem is losing the games that you shouldn't. When you look at the schedule, there's really there's going to be 2 games that you're going to get tripped up on because it's just going to take that. But there's really only 2 games that you can just really look at that schedule and say there's no way in hell they're going to win those. But I'm not ready to say Florida State's going 10-2 out the gate.
Mm-hmm.
8 is reasonable. If you only win 7, then that means you look similar to the year before, and that's not good. And if you can't get that in these next 2 years, that 2022 schedule is hellacious. And after that, the 3 years after that, it's something where Norvell has 2 years to build a foundation because those last 3 years, if he doesn't have a good enough team, he's going to get roughed up.
So it's up to anything less than 8, and you'd be going, what are we doing?
Well, yeah, anything less than 8, I'd be like, we could have kept Taggart.
Yeah. If it's
what's
8,
what's your famous line from that? Anything less than 8, and it's what?
It's a more expensive Taggart.
Expensive Taggart.
Yeah. And if it is 8, it's like, okay, let's see where this thing is going to go. And if it's 9 or more, it's like, okay, we got something going.
Right. That means that if it's 9, that means the 2 games that I was saying that you'll probably drop. That means you only did 1. And I believe the Miami game no matter what, in the last 20 years, the Miami game has been, outside of one, has been pretty competitive.
Mhm.
So I don't know. That's a toss-up to me. But Boise, we should have beat Boise last year. I think I've said it before, but when you look at FSU last year, they won 6 games. But they were a 4-minute offense away, slowing down the tempo of the game from beating, just one possession from beating Boise State.
Mhm.
They were one possession slowing down the game from beating Virginia. They were a one possession slow the game down from beating Wake Forest. And those same similar types of games are still on the schedule. So you should be able to capture those games. Miami, it just didn't work. Florida and Clemson, yeah, whatever. you got to. So if I'm to believe Mike Norvell is an exponentially better coach, such a good coach that you're willing to pay one guy the difference, $4 million, which is the difference from his salary at FAU, and pay him $4.5 million, but on average $5 million a year.
Mhm.
So basically Mike Norvell is a $10 million coach. So like if it's that good, then I should be able to feel confident about 8 to 9 wins.
Matt, what about the Florida Gators? Where should the bar be?
Well, first I want to start with Florida State because I think with Florida State you have to look at that I think are 2 critical games for them, absolutely critical, and they're in the first 3 weeks of the season.
Mhm.
It's West Virginia in the neutral site game, and it's at Boise State. Those are 2 non-conference games that not only are critical for them to reach that 8-win level that James was talking about, because they got some tough spots in the conference schedule. You got to play at Louisville, which is not going to be easy. You got to play at Miami. You got to play Florida. I mean, so you're going to need one upset there at least. So you look at West Virginia's a pretty good team. West Virginia will be better this year. If you're looking at West Virginia, Florida State, you would think that Florida State would have the better team, the better talent. Doesn't always play out in week 1, especially in this new world that we're in right now, where we haven't seen anybody for 5 months. Then you go across the country, you got to go play at Boise State, and that's going to be really hard because Boise State's got, I think, 17 or 18 returning starters, starting quarterback returning who's a really good player. Those are two critical games for them. I mean, at the bare facts, they got to at least split one, at least one. So you're looking at 1-1, and then you go on with you beat Sanford, you're 3-1, you win your other or you lose the other non-conference game with the 4, so you're 2-2.
Yeah.
That leaves you with your 8 league games. So if you're 2-2 after splitting those non-conference games, I mean you got to do the math. You got to go 6-2 in the league.
Yeah, well, taking the
that's not going to be easy for them.
No, and taking the 8 is kind of the bar for what you would consider a successful season. Are you expecting, if 8 is the bar, a successful season for Florida State?
No, I don't think they're going to reach 8. I don't. I think they're going to have a problem with both those big non-conference games, with both West Virginia and Boise State. And I'm not even talking about Florida. That in and of itself is going to be a tough one. They're lucky it'll be the end of the season. Everybody, they'll have an idea of who they are and what they're about. And it's going to be in Tallahassee, and it'll be a chance. Who knows? They could pull an upset. It's a rivalry game. But the first 2 early on like that, that's going to be a tough spot for them. I don't think they're going to get there. I think 7-5 is more likely. And then you're at James's level of then you got a more expensive Taggart. I understand where James is coming from. I don't know if that's fair not because of the expectations there, but just because of this season and what we've been through in the last 4 or 5 months. You're asking a brand new coach to basically take 4 months away from his team. Not only him, but his strength guy too. And then all of a sudden, okay, now jump back into it. That's hard to ask of somebody. So I would say that Florida, I think the bar is, and I don't understand how it couldn't be. You got to beat Georgia. That's how it starts.
Mm-hmm.
You don't beat Georgia, you have to start seriously questioning what's going on right there. They've won 21 games in the last 2 years. Let's say they go 11-1 and lose to Georgia, and they don't get in the championship game again. And then they go and they play in one of those near 6 bowls again, and then they go 12-1. You're still not anywhere close to where you want to be. So I think it starts. It's not really an idea of wins for me. It's beating Georgia. That's the bar for Florida. You got to beat Georgia. You got to win the East. Beating Georgia means winning the East. Can you do that?
Mm-hmm. What about the Hurricanes? Where's the bar?
I'd say similar to where I believe Florida State, because they're trying to build something. But I would say it's even harder because, like, one of the downfalls of Tag was trying to go to an up-tempo style of offense coming from a pro style entirely too fast. And for people to understand that, a pro style in college, you're talking about 70 to 85 plays max a game, to where not up tempo, excuse me, because no huddle hurry up, to where you're trying to run possibly 90 to 95 plays on the low end to 115 at max. The training that you have to go with, not having the ability to work out in the off season or have a spring, because that means the level of communication is higher, and because you're actually bringing in a OC who's air raid, so like he understands those concepts. Whereas last year you said you were going to run it, but your OC had only ran a pro style offense. So like it's cool. It's like me saying I'm going to teach you Spanish, but I don't know any Spanish. So like it's like I'm gonna read the book and teach you I'm gonna be one chapter ahead of you. That's
We're
not
reading
a great,
along together.
Yeah, that's not a great way.
Yeah.
It can happen. We can be lucky. We can survive, but that's probably not the best thing to do. But Miami has talent. They have brought in. They already had an elite pass rusher. I can't forgive me. I forget his name.
Greg Rousseau.
So and now you bring in Roche, who came from Temple, who was the defensive player of the year in his conference. You add Nesta. You have Nesta Silva, whatever. He's a good D tackle. I know that much. In the middle, and you got some guys who aren't your linebackers are kind of new, but
they're young.
You've got a nucleus in the secondary and on the D line that can help protect the young linebacker core, where they have a question mark at quarterback only because King is new and doesn't know everybody has to get used to him. So I would say, and also they have a soft schedule. Those are the things that Florida State and Miami have to their advantage. If you can't take advantage of your schedule now, then you're not destined for the big boys. You got to be able to, I'll give Mullen every bit of props. His schedule hasn't been one of the tougher SEC schedules. It's the SEC, the conference, but it hasn't been the toughest. But he's taking advantage of it. You win the games you're supposed to win, and he's played very well for the most part in the games that nobody really gave him a chance to win. But if one of these two teams in Florida State or Miami can mess around and win 9 to 10 games, you can see the whole climate of recruiting change.
Let's get out to the phone line for the first time today, as Hayes Carline going to join us, who was out at the Jaguars protest that was organized this morning. Hayes, appreciate you giving us a few minutes of your time here.
Sure thing. Glad to be with you guys.
Yeah, and just kind of set the scene for us. What did you see out there at the protest this morning?
Yeah, it was. It started off on a good note. Marcus Pollard sort of set the scene. He sort of ran things early. DJ Chark and Josh Lambo had some great comments before the march began. JSO officers were there to say, look, we're going to be here guiding your way. We support you. We're going to be inconspicuous, but we're here, and we're here to guide you and make sure you get there safely and get back safely. And so it was powerful. And then when we got to JSO, Terry Robisky and Chris Conley really delivered powerhouse speeches. And then the march went back to TIAA Bank Field, and Doug Marrone then addressed the crowd and was very eloquent in his words as well. So a lot of fantastic messages today, and certainly a day of unity for the Jaguars.
Did anybody from the city step up and communicate? Because you've seen in a lot of cities where the police chief actually would come out and address the protesters and things of that nature. With this being the Jaguars and with them coming out, was Mayor Curry there, or was or did the sheriff actually come out and speak as well, or was it just the players?
It looked like it was a Jaguars only event from what I saw. So I did not see any. I certainly didn't see the mayor or or the sheriff or anybody like that. But again, I think this was more of an in-house thing the Jaguars wanted to do. They kept it very under wraps. It was something that they didn't want it to be. They didn't want it to come off as being something staged. There was a moment after Doug Marrone spoke and everything had sort of concluded where somebody suggested, hey, let's get the players all together to pose in front of the Jaguar statue, and you could tell, that didn't go anywhere. It just, I think they wanted to stay. They really wanted it to be an opportunity within the team, for learning, listening, and understanding. And so I don't think they wanted necessarily to bring in a bunch of outsiders to make it more of a public forum. I think this is something that they felt they needed to do, in terms of healing in inside that building.
Hayes, you're a lifelong resident of Jacksonville. You grew up here. You understand the franchise and what it means to this city. When they first got the franchise, for the last 25 years, how it's become, it's become the soul of this city. So looking at that through that lens, when you were watching that, and watching the march and then watching the march get to the steps and hearing the players speak, what was that like for you to watch that?
Particularly when Chris Conley got up and really spoke from the heart. And I would encourage anybody that hasn't seen it, the Jaguars tweeted it out. It's about a 6-minute speech. You could tell, Chris had, really prepared and worked hard on it and, hit a lot of different notes throughout. But I think it's going to be a day that resonates for a long time. I think this is the day that, if you care about the Jaguars and you care about the city of Jacksonville, this isn't one you're going to forget. I mean, this is something we'll be talking about, referencing, decades from now. So you definitely got a sense of, what is happening right now is a turning point, and what is happening right now is a day that you won't forget.
Have you heard from any of the players or members of the organization maybe that didn't necessarily step up in front of a microphone, but what were your interactions like with them this morning?
Yeah, I think everybody is in a good place, and I always feel I'm glad that I was invited to go and witness it, but I also understand that I don't play for the Jaguars, so there's a distance there that I wanted to be mindful of and respectful of. So you say hi and things like that, but Jawan Taylor and Brandon Linder are in a discussion when I walk up to the building. I'm not going to interject myself into that. I just don't feel like that's my role. There'll be a time and a place where I can, have one-on-one conversations with those guys and, catch up with them. But, there wasn't a lot of talking really, before it, during the march, coming back, and then the players sort of got together after it was over. Conley sort of led them for a couple minutes and that was it. So, this felt as far away from a social gathering as you could have. So not a lot of interaction today with the players, but that was more by my design and wanting sort of to respect their space and be more of an observer.
So just to be clear, there were no outsiders, really just Jaguar players and personnel, select members of the media, and they went from TIAA to JSO headquarters and back.
Correct.
What have you heard about, what do the Jaguars want to do going forward? It did feel this morning like this is more of a first step in things that they want to do going forward. Did you get that feeling too, being out there?
Yeah, I think so. I think, from listening to Doug Marrone, who obviously is going to, he'd be one of the leaders on this. I think, he sort of set the tone by saying it's a day of learning, a day of listening, and a day of understanding. And he said, we have a platform, and we need to take advantage of that platform, and players need to feel encouraged to take advantage of that platform. But he was very clear that this is just a first step. I think this was about unity today, but there will be specific plans that are put into place moving forward. Marrone kept referring to it as a battle and a fight, and that this was the first step in a long process in winning that fight. So that was sort of the tone of the day at TIAA Bank Field on the Jaguar March.
Yeah. So I mean, I have questions, but you said, but that was really reiterated that this was just basically like an opening statement to a continued dialogue or some other things that they plan to do.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. I think it was an opening statement of what's to come, and just making sure that there's an understanding of, look, I don't know what it's necessarily like to walk in your shoes, but I want you to tell me your story and your struggle, and I want to understand that, and I want to make sure that moving forward, we don't have that was the tone of the day. And again, I am going to be really interested in seeing, where does the franchise take it from here?
Did Shad or Tony or have they made any statements?
Shad released a statement, I believe, yesterday. Wrote an op-ed about it. He was, my understanding is he was opening a plant today for Flexing Gate, so he was not in Jacksonville. And Tony, I think, was busy with the AEW. So neither Shad or Tony were present for the march. But Shad Khan, wrote his op-ed. I believe that published yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, or the day before.
Yeah, I think it was Wednesday that his op-ed got published, and it was a call to action at the end of it. And maybe this is the beginning of the Jaguars taking action. And again, I think we're all going to be waiting to see, what the next steps are going to be. But it did feel, what was your main takeaway from it this morning, Hayes?
I think I think it was a positive first step. I think there was to hear DJ Chark, what he had to say and thanking everybody for coming and how much it meant to him. And then, just hearing Terry Rubisky and Chris Conley and their perspective on it. And really the message to the young people that attended with, parents of players and staff and coaches. So, I think it accomplished its mission in terms of setting the right tone moving forward. And, now it'll be up to the leaders of that organization to make sure that, they are doing their part to actually bring more action into this, this important endeavor.
Hayes Carline, the 1010XL's Jaguars reporter, down there this morning for the protest organized by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Appreciate you giving us a few minutes. Enjoy the last few hours of your vacay. We've kept the seat as warm for you as we can, and we'll see you again on Monday.
I appreciate it, gentlemen. Have a great weekend. Take care.
All right, Hayes Carline there with us, and we'll have Frank Frangie on in the next hour as well, as he was down there this morning for the protest, and we'll get his reaction to it. To Pete Prisco, going to get pushed back a little bit. He's going to be in the 5 o'clock hour instead of the 4 o'clock hour this afternoon. So when we return, got a couple of Jaguars topics want to get into. CBS is doing their franchise 5. This morning, Jaguars Today had a topic where they did the 5, and instead of just putting the 5 on there, they said, we all know the 5 that would be on everybody's list. So who are the next 5 if you couldn't take those top 5? So we'll get into that. You got to take a coach, you got to take a quarterback, and then the next 3 players. So who would that list include? We'll toss that around a little bit when we return. It's the Frangie Show on 1010XL.
The Frangie Show, live from the law offices of Brett Hastings' studio on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Hot summer heat.
I'm now summertime, so babe, need something to keep you cool.
Keep it cool all summer long with 1010XL, Jacksonville's cool summer station.
The Edge Group wants to buy your house right now. If you need to sell your house, get an all-cash offer and close in as little as 10 days. Don't waste another day letting your house sit on the market. Beat the rush, get your home sold, and get it sold for the most money. Put cash in your pocket right now. Whether it's old, new, in need of repairs, the Edge Group will buy your home, and it won't charge you a penny in commission. So don't wait. Right now is the best time to sell and protect your equity and future. Call the Edge Group right now and get an all-cash offer at 474-5851. No one helps more homeowners get more money than the Edge Group, so call them now at 474-5851. There is no obligation, no risk. Call the Edge Group today to see what your home is worth and get an all-cash offer today from the Edge Group at 474-5851. The Edge Group at Keller Williams Realty.
If you're a man over 45, have frequent urination, an urgent need to go, a weak flow, or waking at night to urinate, it's time to consider UroLift. This is Dr. West, urologist with McKeever Clinic. UroLift is a non-invasive outpatient procedure with minimal downtime. If you suffer from an enlarged prostate and want to avoid the sexual side effects of medication and invasive surgery, UroLift may be for you. Contact McKeever Clinic at 355-6583. That's 355-6583.
The Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is back to normal business hours. In conjunction with Baptist Health, JOI and JOI Rehab are following the best practices to provide you and their employees with a safe environment, including patients and staff wearing masks and the ability to utilize their new virtual waiting room. JOI is still offering telehealth services if you prefer to do so. If you have questions before coming in for an appointment, please call JOI 2000. JOI, where the pros go.
When you owe the IRS and can't pay, call J. David Tax Law, a firm right here in Jacksonville, for affordable IRS tax representation. J. David Tax Law can stop any IRS collection action and protect you from financial devastation. Call J. David Tax Law for a no-cost consultation at 507-4777. That's 904-507-4777. Or visit jdavidtaxlaw.com. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away.
Now until Father's Day, Zero Res is offering 25% off all cleaning services. I mean, all their cleaning services. Call Zero Res today at 287-5727. Zero Res, man, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Local 234, plumbers, pipe fitters, and HVAC technicians has been around for 119 years. Being one of the oldest organizations has its charms. But the reason they've been around for so long is because they're constantly striving for excellence. Their trained technicians can handle any job and have proven their credibility over multiple generations. Local 234 members come from a wide range of backgrounds with one thing in common: getting the job done right. Local 234, make the right connection.
You're already getting the lowest prices on tires at Tire Outlet. Why not add a $70 gift card too? Mike Dempsey here, and reminding you that Tire Outlet is an authorized Yokohama dealer. So buy a set of 4 select Yokohama tires and you'll receive up to $70 on a Visa prepaid card or a Visa virtual account. It's the Yokohama summer rebate offer now through July 5th. Get up to a $70 rebate. More rebates and info at TireOutlet.com.
Tire Outlet. I don't know about you, but I need a haircut. I'm so glad that the Old School Barbershop is back open, ready for business, and ready for you. Walk-ins even accepted at the Old School Barbershop, although I would advise that you go ahead and make an appointment with 3 locations around town and an awesome setup. The Old School Barbershop is going to take you back in time, to a time where you could get your hair cut. So visit the Old School Barbershop right now. Go ahead and make your plans for the next few days. Clean up that shaggy mess, and I'll see you. I will see you at the Old School Barbershop.
Instant Keys specializes in creating replacement automotive keys, even when all the originals are lost or broken. Instant Keys provides expert service for nearly every foreign and domestic vehicle, including the high-end luxury models like BMW, Mercedes, Lexus, and Infiniti. With Instant Keys, you'll get dealership-level service at a fraction of the cost without the dealership hassles. If you need honest, professional locksmith service, call the best around. Instant Keys, 722-1111.
All year long you'll be singing our song. Stay cooler with Bueller. At the head of our class we make it happen fast. Stay cooler with Bueller. For heating and air we always play fair. We make the difference 'cause we really care. Bueller Air. Stay cooler with Bueller.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Andrew Gibson for 1010XL. This morning, the Jaguars led an organization-wide march to raise awareness for racial injustice. Jaguars wide receiver Chris Conley gave an impassioned speech this morning. Here's part of that.
This is a marathon and not a sprint. Every woman and child and man can sustain this for more than just a moment and make sure that this is a movement. Right now, I challenge all of you to learn this history, to learn our country's true history, not so that it makes you comfortable, but so that you can be empowered to go out and make true change.
Chris Conley earlier today. Frank Frangie was there this morning. He will join us in about 15 minutes here on 1010XL. 81 degrees at 4:05. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000.
Back to more of a Big Chief Tire Friday on The Frangie Show. Big Chief Tire, with 4 locations on the First Coast to serve you.
Tony Smith, James Coleman, Matt Hayes, Andrew Gibson here with you on a Friday edition of The Frangie Show. And want to get into a Jaguars topic a little bit. This morning on Jaguars Today, Dempsey put out the question. I had mentioned yesterday that there was this Franchise 5 thing going on with CBS Sports where they were going through each franchise and, so you'd pick the 5 for Dallas or Pittsburgh or Green Bay, and you have to take a coach, a quarterback, and then 3 other players, the 3 top players beyond that in the franchise's history, and thought with the Jags that it would just be too obvious. What it would be. TC, however you feel about him with his second stint here in Jacksonville, went to 2 AFC championship games, founded basically the whole thing, made it happen so early on with them going to an AFC championship game in the second year of the franchise's existence. Clearly the best coach in franchise history, at least to this point. Not a whole lot of argument that Mark Brunell isn't the best quarterback in the team's history. And then the 3 beyond that are the 3 that we talk about a lot with Baselli and Fred Taylor and Jimmy Smith in whatever order you want to put them in. And I think any order is legitimate with those 3 guys as far as who was the best among the 3 of them. But if you took those 5 names out of it and you had to go to the next level, so you can't have Tom as your coach, who is the second best coach?
Jack
Del Rio.
Jack Del Rio is the most disrespected coach in NFL history. And man, based upon the history of what the Jaguars done, he deserves a statue. Like me and Tenny talked about that one time. Like I was just like, he's dumpster juice. Then you look back and you're like, well, maybe
not.
Maybe he wasn't as bad. Maybe we ran him out too quick. Maybe because what we've had.
Right, considering he was great, actually, considering what's here other than Tom Coughlin. He was great.
They got rid of him, brought Malarkey in, right? And you won 2 games.
Yes.
I mean, I think he
was
it 7? Was it 7?
1. I thought it was 1-15.
Oh, even worse.
Yeah.
I mean, my bad. Wasn't he? I think he won 7 games his last year, right?
Let's see. His last year, he got fired before the end of the season. They were 3-8.
That was when Mel Tucker
2011 before.
right?
Yeah. Mel Tucker was the interim, but he went 8-8 the year before that. He went 7-9 before that. Even a run of 5-11, 7-9, 8-8 feels like paradise in Jacksonville right now.
That's progress. We're building it up.
And that's kind of what Jack was. Like if you go back and look at Jack, 5-11 his first year. After that, this is his next 4 years as the Jags coach. 9-7, 12-4, 8-8, 11-5. That's 2 playoff appearances. They beat Pittsburgh in that wild card game, so they got to the divisional round of the playoffs against the undefeated Patriots that year as well, and didn't win that game, obviously, but went to the playoffs twice, which is more than any other coach outside of Tom Coughlin has accomplished for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, yeah, I would say Del Rio would be that guy pretty easy. What is the debate with the quarterback beyond Brunell?
Let's go with Garrard.
Garrard's got to be the guy, right?
Yeah, I would think so. Like I've always said,
unless you want to throw
two.
Chew in there.
It's not Bortles.
It's not Bortles. Bortles would be the only other guy I think at this point you could consider because he went to a title game.
Leftwich, he gets a lot of heat, but I mean, I like Garrard more than I like Leftwich, though. But I mean,
have you heard my Leftwich stat with him and Blake? Byron Leftwich was 24-20 as a starter for the Jacksonville Jags. 24-20. Leftwich would have to come back and lose 28 games in a row to match Bortles' record as a starter.
Wow.
He is 20-48. 24-48. That's Blake Bortles as the starter for the Jags. Byron Leftwich was 24-20. And that's why, I think it is Garrard at number 2 pretty easily. But I think when you have the debate about who's the 3rd best quarterback in franchise history, I don't think Byron gets enough recognition for what he actually did.
It's because how he got let go.
Yeah.
And how they paint, which is ironic because now he's considered one of the guy, a fast riser in the coaching ranks. I remember, if I remember correctly, it was they read the energy bus. They considered him an energy vampire. He didn't get on the bus. He didn't read the book or something like that. And then okay, now we get rid of you. And then it's the karma when they got rid of him. And the same thing with Garrard. You get rid of them right before they announce the start of the NFL season. So like these guys don't even get a chance to really go shop themselves. You let them do everything, and then you drop them at the end. And I think they tried it both. Garrard was the first time I went to like with the Jag breakfast. It's something that they do. He's out there talking to us.
Yep.
And then you get the din. I'm like, wow.
It was unbelievable. It's one of the low moments in franchise history that they walked him out there for that lunch. And Garrard's been gracious about it always, about what happened with it. But they did. They walked him out, and then they fired him that day. I mean, it was unbelievable. Okay, who are the next three guys? If we're going to take the three that we took off with Baselli, Fred Taylor, who are we going with?
I'm going Mojo, Calais, and Keenan.
Calais. Interesting.
His short time here, the level of production that he was able to accomplish, you cannot discount that. He's disrupted. He's probably one of the better defense. He's not probably. He's definitely one of the better defensive linemen that we've had in Jaguar history. He was the anchor of a playoff run.
Sure.
I mean, that's just me. That's one new guy. I guess, and two old guys.
Yeah,
now.
I'm with you on Keenan for sure.
I'm going Tony Brackens.
T-Brack.
Oh, it's hard to leave him off that, man.
And that's where, like, I think if Calais had played the 2 more years here, I think maybe he gets there. Brackens is such a quiet guy, and he was never as much in the public as Calais was. Like, Calais really is the mayor. Right, when he was here. He was always out there, always talking. Right. You always could get a quote from him. Tony, like, even after he retired, he went to his ranch. He don't want to talk to anybody.
Don't talk to anybody, right?
We had him in last year in studio down at the stadium when they were doing the top 25, right? And T-Brack was the highest-rated defender on the list. And he walked in, and we were like, hey, how's it feel to be the highest-rated defender on the list? He's like, I am. Like, he didn't know. Like, that's just kind of how he is. He's like, oh, that's pretty cool. It was like he's telling his kid who's there, he's like, look at daddy.
Right,
like I used to ball. Like, that kind of thing. Like, but that's how Brack has always been. But, yeah, I'd probably put him on that 3.
I would go T-Brack. I would go Maurice Jones-Drew. And third, I think it's tough. It's really tough, but I think I would probably give the edge of Keenan over Donovan Darius.
Over Darius.
And Leon.
Leon.
Because I love my boy, man. I love Leon.
I was thinking Leon, and now that you just said it, man, because Leon's stat as a player is crazy. Was it he never not made the playoffs?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
as a player, that's crazy. Like, that level of, that's an insane level of success.
Y'all, the only one that hasn't been mentioned yet that I would mention, and I think he actually makes my 3, is Rasheem.
Okay. Yeah.
Good player.
And he's a local guy, too, which does add to the flavor. He's here now. Yeah. Like, we don't see him a bunch around town, but Sheen is still here. And when you go back and look, and every now and then we get forced down this rabbit hole to go look at Jaguars' historical stats, most of them are pretty depressing. If you're looking at the best receivers in franchise history, well, outside of Jimmy and Keenan, not a whole lot to love about what they've done. You start looking at the best defensive backs in franchise history. Rasheem has 31 career interceptions. Next on the list is like 15, right? They got 5 guys in franchise history that have 10. Like, it's just not a group that has gotten a whole lot done. And the one Pro Bowl year that Rasheem Mathis had, it was funny. A couple weeks ago, I actually saw a thread of Pittsburgh fans that put out there. It's like, who is the guy that killed us no matter what uniform, no matter what year? Who's the guy that you remember that always killed us? And it was just Steeler fan after Steeler fan saying, that Rasheem Mathis guy. I don't know if he did it against anybody else, but every time we played him, I thought he was going to kill us, and he did. There was the one season he had 2 pick sixes against the Steelers, including one in the divisional round of the playoffs when they won. Rasheem was a Steelers killer, and we came around right around the time when that was still a rivalry between the 2 franchises. So, yeah, I'd probably throw Sheen in my 3. I think I'd go Brackens, McCardell, and Rasheem. Ultimately would be the 3 guys that I would go with. Let's check in with Allie McDeal over at the Poker Room. I know they're open this weekend. Allie, what's going on?
Hey, guys. I am well. How are you guys?
Doing well. What's going on at the Poker Room this weekend?
Yeah, so the card room is back open in full force. We have been open today, marks the 2-week mark. So standard operating hours, they're operating at 50% capacity. But as you know, the buildings have plenty of space. They're nice and large and spacious, so it has not been an issue to have people in there, as well as practicing social distancing. So masks are required to enter the facility, and temperature checks coming in the door. They're also requiring that you use hand sanitizer when you come in. They are now playing the game seven-handed. That started today. So the poker tables are playing seven-handed, which is shortened from nine-handed, and the table games are playing five-handed, which is condensed from seven-handed. So they're operating. Everybody seems to be having a really good time. Drinks, racing is happening, and and everything's been really great. So we're looking forward to having people come back, visit us, and welcome all of our guests back in a safe, fun atmosphere.
Allie, appreciate it, and we'll be visiting the poker room this weekend. Thanks.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right, so bring your mask and be ready to have your temperature taken if you're going to go out and play poker. But the rooms are back open this weekend. Frank Frangio joined us on the other side as he was out there at the protest organized by the Jaguars this morning. So we'll get his reaction to what he saw when we return. It is the Frangie Show on 1010XL.
The Frangie Show, live from the law offices of Brett Hastings' studio on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The Lamb Rant, brought to you by the Best Bet Card Rooms at Jacksonville and Orange Park.
There's absolutely no reason for Jaguar fans to think the worst. You're supposed to see rainbows, not thunderstorms. It doesn't matter that nearly everyone else is predicting doom and gloom. What national predictor sees the Jaguars going 0-16? Nearly everyone has them ranking 32 out of 32 NFL teams. Even the local media is singing the blues. There are obstacles, but never say never. For instance, if Gardner Minshew and P.J. Chark take a step forward, if Josh Allen and Jawan Taylor improve after solid rookie seasons, if Brandon Linder stays healthy, if Cam Robinson is healthy, if first-round rookies C.J. Henderson and Caleb Von Chasten make an impact, if free agents Joe Schubert and Tyler Eifert are solid and Miles Jack becomes a star back on the outside, any of those things could happen. Could all of them? Yeah, probably not, though. But it's possible. Dreaming is what the offseason is all about.
Dr. Carlson has provided premium dental services to the Jacksonville area for over 30 years. Carlson Dental Group's priority is patient experience and satisfaction. Our biggest referrals are from our own patients. I've been one for more than 10 years. Carlson Dental Group also has the most innovative technology and equipment to give our patients the best dental results and long-lasting health. From dental cleaning to a complete smile makeover, Dr. Carlson and his team gives the highest quality dental care and most comfortable environment. Call today, 904-425-2300.
We've all faced difficult times, and you deserve a break. That's why we created our exclusive Beaver Cares campaign to help stimulate our local economy and offer you unprecedented savings. No payments for 6 months, $1,000 cash back, 0% financing, and up to $6,000 more for your trade. Plus, with the purchase of every vehicle, you will support a local business and receive a $200 gift card of your choice. Visit beavercares.com for more information on how you can support the recovery of our community together.
As we go through life, many times we try to plan and prepare for every possibility, thinking about our future, thinking about our families. But many times in life, we're hit by surprise, sometimes great ones and sometimes terrible ones, even tragedies. I have found that most of our clients never thought about who they should call if they were injured. I wouldn't either. What's your plan? I hope you never need us, but if you do, know that we'll be there for you. There's only one Morgan & Morgan. Dial pound law on your cell.
Offices, Jacksonville.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On June 5th, 1981, Astros' Nolan Ryan passed his early win as the all-time walk leader, recording walk 1,777.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for the Blue Crab Crab House. Yes, they are back up and they are running now, both indoors, outdoors dining. You can still call ahead, order, and pick up at 260-CRAB or 260-2722. Non-seafood items on there as well. You love seafood though. Oysters, crabs, shrimp, fish, you name it. Jewington Creek Road in San Jose, the one, the only. It's the Blue Crab Crab House. Doors open at 4:30.
Hey, this is Coach Driscoll from UNF Men's Basketball. Our athletic department uses Southeast Orthopedic Specialists for our student athletes. If you want your kids to be treated like the pros, we highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. Swoop!
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Diamonds Direct celebrates the reopening of our local economy with our most amazing offer ever. 5 years, 0 interest financing with no money down on anything and everything. Yes! Now, for a limited time, Diamonds Direct is doing our part to help you get back to normal and celebrate your love like never before. Our prices and values are the best ever. Our showcases are fully stocked, and we're letting you buy now with nothing down, and you can spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest. Been putting off that engagement? Get her a $6,000 designer ring now and pay just $100 a month. Did you miss celebrating that anniversary? How about a $3,000 Diamond Eternity band for just $50 a month? Summer is the season for love, and we're doing all we can to make this summer one to remember with exceptional values, extra selection, and the most exceptional finance opportunity. 5 years, 0 interest on approved credit. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
The 2020 NFL schedule is out, and single-game tickets are on sale now at Jaguars.com. Don't miss a minute of the action at TIAA Bank Field as Gardner Minshew leads the Jaguars against the AFC South. Be there as Pro Bowlers Josh Allen and DJ Chark show the Bears, Browns, Lions, Dolphins, and longtime rival Pittsburgh Steelers how we level up in Duval. For complete details, visit Jaguars.com or call 904-633-2000. The NFL has implemented a full refund policy for 2020 in case any games are lost or played without fans. Visit Jaguars.com for full details.
Brakes for less is what we do. We know drums, rotors, pads, and shoes. If there's a squeal in your wheel, come see the best. 733 Stop.
Brakes for less.
All we do
are brakes for less.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000.
Today, we see a nation that can't await change. A city that won't sit still or be quiet. Today, I'm surrounded by brothers and sisters of every color who've rallied together to echo the cries of George Floyd, to echo the cries of Breonna Taylor, to echo the cries of Ahmaud Arbery, and the countless others like them. Today, we're encouraged. Today, we're emboldened. Today, we know that that change will come. Today, I'm surrounded by you, and I pray for you that you would abound in love, in knowledge, and deep insight.
Those are the comments of Chris Conley this morning at the peaceful protest organized by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tony Smith, James Coleman, Matt Hayes here with you as we welcome in Frank Frangie. And Frank, I know you had the opportunity to be out there this morning. Appreciate you jumping on for a few minutes just to let us know a little bit about what it was like to be out there for the protest with the Jags today.
Yeah, it was Tony, thank you, buddy, and I appreciate you guys sitting in this week. It was one of the most poignant things I've ever seen. I tweeted this. I went down there to cover it as a member of the media and to walk along with the those making a statement. And honestly, you felt part of it. It was very moving. I thought Chris Conley's address. You played some of that, Tony, right there. I thought Chris Conley's address was as real, as poignant, is hard-hitting. You know, this isn't about, and maybe I needed the light to go on, not that I didn't know this, but maybe I need to pay closer attention. This isn't about black or white, and I know the cliche, it seems like a cliche, it's not black versus white, it's everybody versus racism, but it kind of is, Tony. It's just a bunch of people saying, hey, let's treat each other the same. That's all. That you can summarize all this as, hey, let's all just treat each other the same. It was a great moment. There was great solidarity. There was a peacefulness to it. I thought they did it right. They didn't publicize it because they didn't want too many people. They didn't want it to get out of hand. The members of the JSO that helped keep them safe as we all walked along Bay Street. I thought it was excellent. I thought it was very well done. The right people spoke. Marcus Pollard did a wonderful job hosting it. A lot of the credit went to Doug Marrone, who said, when the players went to Doug earlier in the week, then Doug's the one that said that we have to do something. So, poignant moment, one of the most poignant I've seen in a long time.
What they're saying, obviously, it's awesome. And in light of the things that have been going on the last 10, 11, last almost 2 weeks, and longer than that when you include what happened about an hour north of us in Brunswick, and when you include Breonna Taylor in Louisville, who Chris Conley spoke about, a lot of the messages aren't new. Players have been saying this since Jim Brown. What about now is making people wake up, realize, and listen from a media perspective? Because we saw this when the players went to London and they took a knee and the backlash and everything that they did. Why listen now, or what's different about people listening now and the message that it was then?
Well, James, that number, and I don't think it's just media. I think it's people overall. I'll tell you what. We all watched George Floyd get murdered. That's what's different. We all watched it. It was in our living room, James. It was on our phone. It was in wherever we were watching television. We watched that man lay on his stomach with his hands cuffed behind his back, plead for his life, explain to these cops that I'm dying, explain to these cops that I can't breathe, that my neck hurts, that my back hurts, I'm about to die here, and the cops continued to do what they did and killed him. I think we all saw it. I don't know that there's messages now that, if we're honest, James, that we didn't kind of know. You know what I mean? Yes, there's a racial divide in our country. There's no question. But maybe we didn't spend enough time focusing on it or thinking about it. And I think watching that video, all of us watching that video, is what made us all pay more attention. That's what you're saying, is why are we paying attention now? I don't think there's new information, James. I think there's information we've always kind of known, and that just horrific video that most of us can't get out of our mind made us pay attention.
So, Frank, I asked Hayes the same question earlier. I'm going to ask you because you, as well as Hayes, you're a lifelong Jacksonville resident. This city is your home. It's your life. It's who you are. And you've spoken at length about that numerous times on your show, personally to me, with your friends. This city is a big deal to you. So knowing that, and with that as the backdrop, what was it like for you to walk that walk with the players, with the JSO with them, all the way to the steps of the police department, and then to hear what was going on and take in what was going on? What was that like for you?
Yeah, it's a great question, Matt, and you're right. A sense of pride, I guess, that's part of it, that our city was doing this. But not surprised. I love this city, as you said, and I say many, many times. But I think this city gets it right. There's bad people, whether it's racist or bad in other ways, everywhere. We know that. There's bad people, but there's way more good. I'm not surprised that our city stepped up. I'm glad that it did. But I think the credit for this one, this specific one, goes to the members of that football team, not to the city. Now, our city responded well, and I'm watching on Twitter, and I'm watching on television. I'm listening to all of our shows, including you guys are doing a terrific job with our afternoon show. But I think the credit for this one, Matt, goes to that football team. I'm proud that I was part of it. Yeah, and I tweeted this, and I'm watching this, right? And we're all media guys. We cover this. And I'm caught up in it. I'm looking at the sincerity on everybody's faces. And then I hear Chris Conley. And I got emotional because he's saying, children, we want to help the children. We don't want the next wave of children to be ostracized. We don't want the next wave of children to, when they become grown-ups, to have more difficult lives than they should have. And the sincerity, Matt, in his voice. And I'm thinking, gosh, I'm getting kind of emotional here. And right about then, my daughter, who's 27, texted me and said, Dad, I think it's just really cool that you're there, and I'm proud of that. And I don't know why that hit me, man. You know, sometimes things hit you. We all have children, and whew, that one just got me. And I think all of it together, Matt, being from Jacksonville, it's happening in Jacksonville. It's happening with the football team that I'm so honored and privileged to call their games. My daughter's texting me, listening to Chris Conley, who's such an eloquent speaker. All of it together, man, just moved me in a way that it's hard to explain. And then I thought about, well, I don't want to grandstand. You know, you tweet and you talk. It's not like you're grandstanding. I'm not grandstanding. It just hit me in a really special way. It really did.
James, hearing you ask the question you asked, it really hit me like a hammer. To hear it asked that way, because I don't think there is a good answer for it, right? Like, there's not a good answer for why now and the events that we've seen in the last 10 or 11 days would be the line that finally had to be crossed for all of us to be on the same side of this thing this loudly and this vocally. It did, man. When you asked it, I was like, whoa.
And it's not taking it. It doesn't matter. At least it's happened. Right. That's the one good thing. It was a conversation I had in the gym, and all these players. It was a bunch of pro athletes around. This was shortly after Eric Garner, I believe, the first guy who said I can't breathe.
Yeah.
And it was a thing where it was about 6 of us, all African American. Hey, did you hear about such and such? The guy got killed by the police. Oh, you're talking about this guy? No, not that one. We're talking about this one right here, and you describe it. Oh, the one in this city. No, it didn't happen in that city. The one that happened in this city. Oh, you're talking. And then we all got silent. It's entirely too many times that you can say it's for you to be able to be confused about which one. That's where it becomes out. But it's dope that we heard. I think Hayes said, one of the players said that for the first time we're being heard. We feel like we're being listened to, and it's about my biggest thing is what next, and that's I guess that's where we come back and we all go back and we look at what are we going to all do, because it's not just about police brutality. It's about how we treat each other, and it's about about opportunities and making sure that, again, for the kids to be better, making sure that the kids have opportunities to be able to engage, interact, and grow and become and show the best America. So what were other takeaways? What was it like seeing Doug Marrone actually take the forefront of this, especially after a former Jaguar player was really critical of both him and Tom Coughlin over in London?
It's interesting, James, I didn't make the London connection, but I think Doug was really moved by it. Doug's a good guy. At the end of the day, are you a good guy or you're not? Doug's a good guy. He really is a good guy. And I think he was really moved by this. I think earlier in the week, I could see it on his face. I know Doug pretty well. I could see it on his face. I think earlier in the week, when players came in and said, "Coach, this isn't right. Coach, this is," and I don't know what they said, James, but I'm assuming he said they talked all week long and it wasn't about football. And I think players walked into his office and he saw the hurt on their face. The George Floyd thing, bringing it to the forefront for us, and I think he just said, "You know what? We got to do something. These are my." You've heard coaches 1,000 times. James, you played forever. You've heard coaches 1,000 times say, "These are my guys. I treat them like my sons." Again, I'm not trying to be cliche, but how many coaches have we heard say that? Right? These are my guys here. Well, if you see one of your guys, one of your children hurting, oh boy, that hurts now. And I think that's what I saw in Doug today. So yeah, I liked seeing it, and I think it's a good thing. Somebody else asked me, does it bond them and make them a closer team? Well, I don't know. This isn't about something making you better at football. You know what I mean? That's not what this was about. This isn't about what happens with football. If it makes you closer and makes you share things with each other more and bond with your coworkers more, that's a great thing whether you're winning football games or not. So I don't see it as this will bond them and make them a better football team. I don't think that matters. Not today. Not today. What mattered today was they had a chance to speak about something. And again, Chris Conley got my attention. I thought about it all day long. I thought about it probably as I'm driving out of there, and I'm still thinking about it a bunch.
Frank, appreciate you joining us for a few minutes, and we'll get you back in here on Monday.
Okay, fellas. Thank you.
All right, that's Frank Frangie. This is the Frank Frangie Show, joining us to talk about the protests from this morning with the Jaguars. Going to get into some NFL talk next. Pete Prisco from CBS Sports will join us on the other side as we continue along on a Friday edition of the Frank Frangie Show right here on 1010 XL.
The Frangie Show, live from the law offices of Brett Hastings' studio on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
1010XL, perfect sports radio.
It was perfectly planned, but it was executed with Neolithic incompetence.
1010XL.
This is Hayes Carlyon for Harrell & Harrell. If you are in need of a personal injury attorney, you need to find the perfect team. A team with the ample resources needed to win your fight while maintaining that crucial personal touch. I've known Holt and Julie Harrell for decades, and trust me, you will get that personal touch at Harrell & Harrell. Holt and Julie have figured out that important balance. They are from Jacksonville, they care about Jacksonville, and being a community-based firm. Smart, savvy, but most important, compassionate. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harrell & Harrell at 251-1111.
Hi folks, Frank Frangie here, reminding you again that Stanley Pools is the best pool company in Jacksonville and has been since 1988. Call them at 269-7277 for new pools, remodeling, pavers, fire pits, you name it. They have their own screening division. They do it all, and they can provide maintenance for your pool as well. Lord knows I use them for that. If you want a pool company you can trust, call the best one in town. Stanley Pools. 269-7277 for Stanley Pools.
Take advantage of working from home and get that project or spring cleaning done now. Rick Ballou here for Small Haul Dumpsters. They offer short-term dumpster rental with low rates and zero hidden fees. Saving you more on any size cleanup. Give Small Haul Dumpsters a call today at 552-5555 or go to smallhauldumpsters.com to reserve your Small Haul Dumpster today and get $50 off your first rental. Call today, 552-5555 or go to smallhauldumpsters.com.
Jacksonville, big news. On June 13th, Spartan, the world's most popular obstacle race, in partnership with Airstream Ventures and Visit Jacksonville, is bringing back its first live race at WW Motocross Park. With the help of local officials and medical experts, they've created an exciting course that meets the city and state's public health guidelines. It will get you off the couch and back in action. Head to Spartan.com to register for the race and learn more about their new safety standards now. That's Spartan.com.
Fenwick Home Services keeps you cool in June. Tune up your air conditioner for just $59 and get up to a pound of refrigerant for free. Plus, Fenwick's no breakdown guarantee covers your AC all summer. Count on your Fenwick pros to wear gloves and face masks on every visit and follow CDC guidelines. Hurry, this deal ends June 30th. Pick up the phone and call 660-0556 or visit FenwickHomeservices.com.
Hi, folks. Frank Frangie here for Orange Environmental Services, the superstars at taking care of your pest control and your lawn. They mow our lawn, they treat our lawn, and they're the best in the business at pest control with Centricon Termite Protection. They are the superstars. I trust them. You should too. 272-3284. The superstars at taking care of your pest control and your lawn are Orange Environmental. Call them today at 272-3284.
It gets hot for playmakers and newsmakers on the Roof It Right Hot Seat. Roof It Right Hot Seat on 1010XL. Listen to Mike and Tony every day for the latest scoops from Jacksonville and beyond. Roof It Right so you can sleep at night.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwood Jewelers. Clayton, you have told us about buying better quality diamonds, but is there any way to start with a smaller diamond and use it to trade up to a larger diamond later on?
Frank, it's interesting you'd ask that because our founder, H.F. Underwood, popularized growing your diamond here in Jacksonville about 50 years ago, and it's something we still do today. When a customer buys an Underwood engagement ring or solitaire diamond pendant or a pair of ear studs, we guarantee they get the price they paid for it on the purchase of any larger diamond. Now, a lot of stores would say, big deal. We do that too, but here's the Underwood difference. We guarantee you get what you paid when you trade in your Underwood diamond, even if you're trading up by only $1. It's not that you have to trade up 2 for 1 like most jewelers ask. There have been literally thousands of people in the Jacksonville area who have taken advantage of our policy, and Underwood still grows a lot of diamonds for a lot of people.
Underwood, serving excellence since 1928. In San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Tire Outlet is bringing the tires to you. Mike Dempsey here to tell you that Tire Outlet is now offering mobile service. No hassle, I mean quick same-day installation. They're the largest locally owned tire shop in town, so wherever you are, choose a time and location that's convenient for you. A Tire Outlet professional will bring the new tires out and install them. Call this number to make an appointment, 600-0089. For mobile tire installation, that's 600-0089. Tire Outlet. Wholesale prices, premium service.
If you hate the virus, hang in there. It'll all be over soon. Hot Flying Jacko here, a fellow virus hater, suggesting you join us at Woody's Barbecue today.
At Woody's Barbecue, it's what we do. Let's eat.
Mark Watson here with Hardball Creative. It's been a crazy couple of months, but as we prepare to move forward, make sure your company is ready. Welcome employees back with a new polo or branded coffee mug. Outfit servers with new tees and caps, or what about car magnets for deliveries? Remember, Hardball does it all. Call us today at 9988778 or online at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Instant Keys specializes in creating replacement automotive keys, even when all the originals are lost or broken. Instant Keys provides expert service for nearly every foreign and domestic vehicle, including the high-end luxury models like BMW, Mercedes, Lexus, and Infiniti. With Instant Keys, you'll get dealership-level service at a fraction of the cost without the dealership hassles. If you need honest, professional locksmith service, Call the best around. Instant Keys, 722-1111.
Been dreaming of Subway tile and butcher block counters? Outdoor kitchens and pavers?
Oh, honey.
The weather's great and it's time to knock out those nagging home projects with a Honeydew HELOC from 1-to-1 Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Borrow up to 90% loan to value and pay no closing costs. Best of all, we'll give you a free wheelbarrow. That's right, a free wheelbarrow. Apply today at 1to1fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA. Just please, no more shiplap.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000.
Time for all things Jaguars and NFL with Pete Prisco. The Prisco Report, presented by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles.
Showtime.
On The Frangie Show.
Yeah, for the best in vintage cards as well as terrific autographed items, head to Showtime at the corner of Phillips and Chad Road and find Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as we welcome in the senior NFL columnist for CBSSports.com and the only guy I follow on Twitter that every time I tweet at him, I'm afraid I'm about to get blocked, Pete Prisco. Pete, what's going on this afternoon, bud?
Well, I can tell you this. I feel sorry for James because you used to be my producer, so we worked closely together.
Uh-huh.
And I worked with Matt Hayes for years. Man, James, I feel sorry for you, buddy.
They've treated me pretty good, man. It hasn't been worse. I've had Denny's worse.
Yeah.
My normal partner, so it's all good.
I'm just glad that Pete didn't come in with the go get your shine box. I get that about once every other time that I talk to Pete coming towards me because I was his producer for a while here in Jacksonville. But Tony Smith, James Coleman, Matt Hayes, joined now by Pete Prisco. And Pete, we'll get into some football stuff, but obviously there's a lot of newsy stuff going around the league with the protests that are going on. And what was your reaction? I guess we'll start with what you saw happening in Jacksonville this morning and the protest that the team organized.
I loved it. Look, I'm a big believer in peaceful protests. I think they're great. I think everybody should have the right to protest. I was never one of those guys that had a problem with anybody kneeling. That whole thing got hijacked and turned it into kneeling in protest of the flag when that's not what it was. So I'm okay with all of it. I don't like violent protests, I'll be honest with you. And I think a lot of these protests have been infiltrated by people who don't have the same type of mindset in terms of the protest that the actual belief is in why you should be protesting. They're just there to stir it up, and that's never a good thing. I don't like burning down buildings. I don't like, a lot of hard-working people lost their businesses, and they struggled with the coronavirus as it is. That's never a good thing, but I understand the frustration. I understand the anger, and I think that's great what the Jaguars did this morning.
A lot of players are a lot of the feedback that we got from Frangie and Hayes Carline were players saying that now for the first time they're being heard. Are other players feeling like that? Are other teams doing something similar to that? And what is the perception of the players when they're speaking out now? And what's different from, again, 4 or 5 years ago to right now?
Well, again, it goes back to, and you've been in the locker room, I think you don't have to get along with your teammates. You just got to live with them. That doesn't mean you can't respect what they believe. And look, they know. The guys know. We as a white guy, I've never walked in those shoes. I don't know what it's like. I can't sit here and say that. So it's hard for me to understand it, but it's there. And so I think in a locker room, I do think there's always differences. And I've been in locker rooms. Hey, I covered the Jaguars locker room way back in the day, in that first couple of years when there was a real rift inside that or a split inside that locker room between guys who were very religious and guys who weren't. And it was a problem at times. And so there's always going to be differences. But once that guys got on the field, it wasn't an issue anymore. And I don't think this will be an issue either. But again, I think the right to protest is fine. I think, by the same token, Drew Brees, should understand the timing of what he said and how he said it. That this isn't the moment for that. This is the moment to, back your teammates. They're protesting for something that they feel is a major injustice, and it is a major injustice. So, respect them and agree with what they do and go. And look, there's a lot of people out there that are hard-headed. Times have changed. It's time to change with the times, and I think that's something moving forward. That both in the NFL, college football, all across this world, I think you're going to start seeing more and more of that, and that's the way it should be. Nobody's better than anybody else. You know,
Right.
I always like to say, we all come into the world, we all use the toilet, and we all die. I mean, those are givens. That's who we are.
And he's right. That's Chris and I say that all the time. At the end of the day, guess what? We all die. That's kind of the reality of it. And that we're all the same. We are all the same. Period. Pete, so here's my question for you. The NFL's been kind of like eerily silent about this. At what point do they make a public statement? And what do you see as, you know, when once this season starts, okay, will we see more of the, you know, for lack of a better way of saying it, the Colin Kaepernick type situation and protest where more players now will be kneeling constantly?
Yes, you will, and you should. And I don't think it's going to be the same type of issue it was back then. And the NFL made a statement. I mean, and each team has done a lot of individual stuff. And so, yeah, I do think that. One other thing I do want to say, and I've known and played basketball down at the Y in Jacksonville for years with a lot of cops, and I've known a lot of cops over the years. I have great respect for the police force, and I have great respect for a lot of cops. I've known a lot of them. There are bad apples on the police department, and there's, you know, by the same token, we look at these protests and we say, hey, these are great. This is a great thing. But there's bad apples who are ruining it. It's the same thing with the cops. There's a lot of really good police officers, and there's a bunch of bad ones who ruin it for them. And I think that's where we are. It's just so easy now to throw a blanket statement, oh, every police department is awful, every cop is terrible. That's not true. It's just like every protester isn't bad. There are a handful of them who are, but these protests, for the most part, have been peaceful in a lot of situations.
Senior NFL columnist for CBSSports.com, Pete Prisco, joining us here on the Frangie Show. And Pete, getting into football a little bit, we found out earlier this week, and actually today is the date when a lot of teams are going to be allowed to get their coaches at least back in the building. So those are opening up everywhere except San Francisco. At least those were the reports. So we're getting closer and closer to at least getting these guys back in the building. What do you think it's going to look like early on, given how it has been an entirely virtual offseason? It's usually sloppy early anyway in preseason and for the first couple weeks of the NFL regular season, but are we in store for something real ugly early this season?
I don't think so. I really don't. And remember, we had the lockout a couple years ago, and it wasn't that ugly early in the season. I think people forget that. I think this virtual stuff has helped in terms of the focus. You know, guys have been more, I bet they're more focused on getting into the playbook because there's nothing else to do. You know, and like we had the entire month of April and on into May with, you know, we did the draft, we had the post-draft. We were busy because there's a lot of football stuff. But you were more focused. I watched more tape this year than I ever have. I've been much more focused and driven, and I think I've talked to a lot of guys around the league, coaches, personnel people, and they've been more focused, and I think the players have as well. So I think from picking up the book, it won't be. You'll see some, you know, in terms of not getting to do the reps. And you guys know that. You got to be able to get out there and rep with your teammates and do it. But from what I'm hearing, and we heard a little peek of that last week, or this week, Bruce Arians said his team is starting on July 21st training camp and might have a quarterback/rookies camp the week before, which brings you up until July 14th. Well, normally it's been 15 days before your first preseason game. And by that calculation, the Cowboys should be starting and Steelers should be starting that week because they're in the Hall of Fame game. So now I think they're going to get moved up a week. We might have people on the football field in those cities maybe the second week of July, first week of July. So it's going to get moved up. You're going to get some pre-camp work, but I think you're going to get an extra week of training camp for a lot of teams.
Will they are they talking about making adjustments to the amount of days that you can have pads on, the amount of hours, things like that players have fought for years to kind of get restricted, but now you kind of need that to get the catch up?
Yeah, and again, I don't think you're going to see those old two-a-days on one day and two-a-days on the next. You can't. They can't do that. They don't do it anymore. You'll see some adjusting, though. I mean, let's face it. They would have had X amount of days on the field and OTAs and mini camps that they don't have. So you have to make that up somewhere, and I think you'll make it up in maybe the week before or 10 days before, and then get on into training camp. And then I think training camp will be held normally. You won't see, you'll probably see a little more hitting in training camp in some of those practices, but not much more. I don't think so, James. Those days of beating the daylights out of guys are over with.
So, Pete, let's go closer to home here in this city. and Gardner Minshew. Did you see the video that his quarterback coach released? You see, he's clearly thicker in the trunk area. He's a bigger guy. The ball looks like it's getting out quicker. Looks like it's got a little more velocity on it. Can he make that jump, you think, that the typical 1 to 2 year jump where you start to see a guy from he has questions to, wow, this guy may be a 5, 6, 7, 8 year guy?
Well, he does love it and live it. I mean, that's half the battle there. You got to be able to understand where you're going with the football when you come to the line of scrimmage. People don't realize, and Drew Brees has been one of the great quarterbacks of all time. His name isn't so hot right now these days, but he's been one of the great quarterbacks of all time in this league. And he once told me, well, actually one of his teammates told me, and then I asked him about it, he backed it up. He threw over 100, he completed over 100 passes one season without seeing the receiver. And I said, how the heck did you do that? He goes, because I repped it with him. I knew where they go in a certain coverage. I just threw it. And that's where Minshew's going to have to get to something like that, because he doesn't see the field that well. I don't know if you guys saw it. A couple weeks ago, somebody put out a play where and it was against the Jets. He bootlegged out, got out of the pocket, and threw a touchdown pass. And I said, why did he leave the pocket? And people said, well, he threw a touchdown pass. I said, so what? You have to be able to stay there. You have to allow the concept of play to be designed and throw it. And if you go back and look at it, he had a guy open in a one-on-one situation on the backside of that play, and he didn't get to. Now he got outside. He's athletic enough to make the play, so that's great. But you know how plays are designed: 1, 2, 3, 4, check down. 1, 2, 3, 4, check down. It's not 1, 2, get out and hope you can make a play. And I think that's the growth for him. Can he get there? That's to be determined. There were too many times last year where I thought he left too early, but that's a young quarterback, so maybe he can.
How much opportunity in an offseason where you haven't been on the field with your guys the entire time? Like, what is it? What kind of level of improvement is fair to expect out of Gardner Minshew in that kind of situation?
Well, I think a lot of it's mental, and you can do the mental reps, and then then it becomes the timing with the guys in training camp and then that week before, and that's going to be the tough part. There's going to be a lot of extra work after practice. I think particularly with guys who want to be good, and you're going to throw with your guys after practice. It's not going to be, and you guys have seen this. You have a practice, it's tough, it's physical. You get out and they go off the field. Well, I think the quarterbacks and the receivers are going to stay a little longer now than they normally would to get into a little bit of a rhythm before the preseason games, before training camp starts. So, I don't think it's going to be significantly different. Let's be honest about it. The tackling in the first month of any season is awful because they don't tackle enough anymore, and I think that's still going to be a problem. So look for a lot of points in the first month of the season.
Senior NFL columnist for CBSSports.com, Pete Prisco, joining us here. Pete, we appreciate it, and as you join us each Friday here on the Frangie Show. And have a good weekend, buddy. We'll talk to you again next week.
Keep them in line, James. Keep them in line.
See you, guy.
See you, guys.
Yeah, I'll go grab my shine box as we say goodbye to Pete Prisco, and we head into the 5 o'clock hour, the last hour of the week for us, or at least for me and Matt. James, you got a little more work to do as we'll wrap up at least
some heavy lifting this week for James, man.
The Frangie Show as we continue along here on 1010XL. Reminder, too, for the best in vintage cards as well as terrific autographed items, head to Showtime at the corner of Phillips and Chad Road. Find Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. They bring you Pete Prisco here on the Frangie Show each Friday afternoon. We'll be back with more on the Frangie Show next on 1010XL.
The Frangie Show, live from the law offices of Brett Hastings' studio on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Working from home?
Look who's here.
Meet XL Primetime from noon to 3 weekdays on 1010XL with former Jaguars All-Pro Leon Searcy, Joe Cowart, Ryan the Hacker Green, and Bleacher Report college football reporter Matt Hayes.
Hey, if you want an insurance agent you can trust, I'll recommend State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. 940-9740 is Craig's number. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, he's really good. And he's there when you need him. He's that good at the job. You want a guy you can trust, really trust, and a guy you're really going to like. Let me recommend my friend Craig Dewhurst. You know State Farm's a great company. I'm going to tell you Craig is the best agent around. 940-9740, whatever it is you need in the world of insurance, the best guy in the business is my friend Craig Dewhurst.